Hello everyone, hello friends. I'm welcoming all inhabitants of Indonesia and I congratulate you on opening a national representation office in your region. I'm happy that you are with us today in this presentation. You will learn in a very detailed way what Duyunov's Motors project is that Solar Group company supports today, and I hope that after that you will join our big community. My name is Pavel Filippov. I'm head of advertisement and public relations of Solar Group company, and I will lead today's webinar for you. If you have questions as my presentation goes along, please write in the chat, and then in the section questions and answers we will answer all the questions. First of all, I want to tell you what our investment project is, Duyunov's Motors. This project is a project to promote technology of combined windings Slavyanka on the international market. Today, this technology allows the team of Dmitry Duyunov to design electric motors of a new generation, which are used in very different areas: electric transport industry, agriculture, aviation, military domain, home appliances, and so on. I think it is more difficult to say where it is not used. To do business based on this technology. So our aim is a construction of an innovation center which will be called SOLARGROUP, and within this project Dmitry's team will design different motors for different clients, and so they will gain money on that. I will speak in a more detailed way about how it works. Of course, investment is needed for that, so within our project we attract such investment by crowd investing, when money is attracted from an unlimited number of small and medium investors, which means that any of you can invest, and actually can invest a sum which seems reasonable to you, and you can be part of this innovative business. So, what is this technology of combined winding Slavyanka? I guess you understand what an electric motor is. Today, it's not possible to imagine people's life without such motors. They're used everywhere: electric transport, industry, agriculture, military domain, aviation. And we need to know that 80% of all electric motors in the world are induction electric motors. Induction motors are the simplest, the most reliable, and the most accessible electric machine which can be used in different areas. That is why it is so popular and in such a demand. Induction motors, it's the area where an engineer, developer Dmitry Duyunov made a breakthrough. If we look at the construction of the electric motor, we will see that an induction motor has windings which are performed by two classical methods, either star or delta. Dmitry Duyunov managed to combine both windings within one motor, both star and delta. They were combined in one motor in parallel, and such a winding was called combined winding Slavyanka. And it made Duyunov's motors stand out among all the competitors on the market. So, what are the advantages of motors when we use the technology of combined windings Slavyanka? The first advantage is saving electric energy. A motor with combined windings saves up to 40% of energy. This is quite a significant number, which could be achieved both in testing and in practice. The second advantage is cost. Such motors use up to 30% less of copper and electric steel. So, having the same amount of raw material, we can make not 3 classical motors, but 4 motors with combined windings. Another thing, so there is something which is called service factor, and usually it's 1.2, 1.3. Combined winding motors have a service factor of 2.5, which is twice as big. It means that combined winding motors can work longer and they will not break. They can also have more overload and nothing will happen to them either. There are other engineering details, and if you are interested in that, you can read about them in our official sources. I only mentioned the basic characteristics. And one more important fact about combined winding technology. And here we will speak about the big mission of the project, performed and realized by the technology. You know that on the planet we live on, there are a lot of ecological problems, and today people exploit our planet a lot, and all of it influences and impacts the world we live in, and it worsens the ecological situation in the world. Of course, a lot of things influence the fact that ecology goes worse and worse. And we need to know that one of the worst factors which impacts deterioration of ecological situation is uncontrolled production of electric energy. And things such as pollution of water, air, soil, climate change that we feel ourselves today, a huge contribution is done here by production of electric power. And motors are consumers, the things that consume electric power. And we could think that we could use less electric powers, but it's not possible because it will just stop progress on Earth. That is why the only area where it is good to go in to correct the situation is production of motors which consume less energy but which do as much useful work or even more. To control such a situation, a scale of motor efficiency was elaborated, where E1 and E2 are minimal energy consumption and E3 and E4 are maximal consumption. Both motors today have E1, E2 consumption class, which influences badly our planet. The motors that Dmitry Duyunov's team are creating today solves this problem. And they have efficiency class E3, E4, that is maximal energy preservation class, which shows that these motors are super energy efficient and they are motors of a new generation. It's not just a motto, it's a fact proven both in testing and in practice. Many other companies today are trying to create such motors because people understand that it is not possible to be slowly killing our planet. Sometime it will have to stop. But today, no other company in the world has managed to create motors with E3, E4 energy efficiency classes that would be as accessible, as cheap in production, and as compact as Dmitry Duyunov's team has managed to do, and no one has even come close to their results today. The company that will be able to offer the world cheap, accessible electric motors of a new generation with E3, E4 class, they will become new leaders on the market of electric motors. And of course, Dmitry Duyunov's team is doing all possible to make it possible. When you join the project, remember that you don't just gain money by taking part in a profitable business, but you also improve radically ecology in the whole world. Of course, questions may arise now. How can you prove what you have been saying? There are a lot of proofs, and let's start with scientific base, with the theoretical base. The first thing is patents that were received for this technology. There are more than 20 of them. You can look at them on our official website and you can check their validity in official sources. The second thing is research that was carried out within the technology of combined windings. There were different studies. They were carried out in different companies, in governments, in universities of different countries. For example, in Belgorod University in Russia, also in Düsseldorf and Bologna universities in Europe, and in Bangkok University in Asia. What does that research show? First of all, they all prove efficiency of the technology of combined windings and everything that Dmitry Duyunov has spoken about many times. Secondly, as this research was carried out in different parts of our world, we can be absolutely sure that they are not biased and that such testing can be trusted. Almost or absolutely all research is found in official sources. We cannot say that the technology has a final version if there is no huge wide practical experience of using it. That is why Dmitry Duyunov's team has been working on that as well. The first thing that was done was creation of an area of licensed winders. So they are people who have a license to commercially use the technology of combined winding Slavyanka, and they provided services to repair electric motors for their clients. When they were repairing motors for their clients, they were not just offering them to change windings. They provided them to replace it with combined windings, and they could earn money on that. Clients received engines, motors of a new generation, and they gave some of the profit as a license fee. It is important to mention here that Dmitry Duyunov's team cannot only do innovations but also earn on their innovations, which they showed in this special kind of branch of licensed winders. Today in the whole world there are about 100 such licensed winders, and in their years of work they have managed to modernize and they have installed this double winding on tens of thousands of induction engines, and they have shown that the technology of combined windings is effective on all types of induction motors, and they have proven it in practice. So, saying whether this technology is working or not is just irrelevant. It is working, and it is proven by people who have been earning money for a long time on that. Of course, in order to promote the technology, for ordinary people to speak about that, not only engineers, it is important to create something visible, something understandable for any person. That is why the company has started to create prototype models, and success was achieved in electric transport. Different motors were created for electric transport with combined winding. Let's speak about this. First of all, it's one of the most famous motors. This is a motor wheel, Duyunov's motor wheel. You might have heard about that. And such popularity is quite understandable. This is the first induction electric motor in the form of wheel. All the other motors that you could see are made on the basis of different technologies. Usually it's BLDC technology. What is the drawback of these technologies? First of all, BLDC has some drawbacks in its construction. In BLDC motors, there are the so-called permanent magnets, and these permanent magnets contain rare earth metals. Rare earth metals are mineral resources which are extracted in China only. China holds a monopoly on this market. Every year it increases prices, which influences the final cost. And also China prohibited exporting rare earths from the country. Now, in order to buy these motors, if you are working in this domain, either you buy ready-made motors in China or you build a plant in China. No local production in Indonesia, for example, is not possible in this case. Moreover, it all influences accessibility of this motor and its final price. Dependence from a concrete country and from a concrete region usually ends quite badly, because when you only have one supplier, when something happens to your supplier, then your business collapses as well. So this is not safe at the very least. That is why more and more companies and people look at Duyunov's technology. It does not have these drawbacks, and components are quite cheap, which are extracted in different countries, and you can organize production anywhere, in Indonesia, in Europe, in any place. And this is quite cheap and very light, quite accessible. Of course, it's not enough for something to be cheap. There are also other criteria, for example, reliability. And as we have already said, induction motors are the most reliable in the world, and motor wheel is not an exception. It's much more reliable than what Chinese do today. Another thing is capacity, power of this motor. Let's take two motor wheels, which will look the same. One will be of Chinese origin, BLDC, and the other one will be Duyunov's one. They will look alike, but the Chinese motor wheels capacity will be 2.53 kilowatts, and at the same time, Duyunov's motor's capacity will be 20 kilowatt. So you see the difference. It's quite significant. Several motor wheels have been already created, a whole range. Motor wheel for electric bicycle, electric scooter, and for electric cars, which broadens possibilities for this type. And even two-wheel transport will be enough to earn good money on that. But speaking of electric car market, it also increases the potential of this technology. I have only been talking about one motor, but I want to remind you that today Dmitry Duyunov has tens and hundreds of different motors of different types, including those created from scratch. We could continue talking about electric cars. Let's think about Renault Twizy, Renault Kangoo. They are electric cars where combined winding motor was installed. They are not motor wheels. They have proven to be very effective. Renault Twizy, for example, we showed it, we put it on display in our conferences, and people could drive those cars and see for themselves what it was. There were a lot of electric cars. You can also find all of that on our official website. Getting to the next topic, for example, public electric transport, we will see that there was a very interesting prototype model. Such motors were installed in a trolleybus, and after that, such a trolleybus became not only more dynamic but also more economical than its precursor. Thus, we achieved two goals here. Another interesting prototype model was created on the basis of an electric locomotive. It's a vehicle which carries cargoes in shafts, and before our motor was installed, it could pull 5 wagons, and after installation of the motor, 5 turned into 11. Of course, there are a lot more such prototypes, and they were not only developments in electric transport domain. You can have a look at it in a more detailed way on our website. Today, you can test motors with combined windings yourself. Today, thanks to our partner Viktor Aristov, we have organized a batch production, serial production of such motors. 5 types are produced. You can buy them, you can install them on your vehicle, or you can buy the vehicle itself, an electric bicycle, an electric car, and then just use this technology in practice, and you can see for yourself how effective it is for electric transport in particular. So please use it. It's a very interesting area. So, in 15 minutes, I've told you in a couple of words what technology of combined windings is and what Dmitry Duyunov managed to achieve. Of course, in reality, this work was going on for many years. For the first time, this technology was successfully used in 1995. And since that time, active work has been going on. Patents, then practical usage, electric transport, and electric motors of industrial usage. And Dmitry Duyunov's team has been doing all of it using its own money, engaging in commercial activities related to the motors, and they continue to improve the technology. But at some point, it became clear that no further checking was necessary. That technology already proved to be successful. It was an ready-made technology to be used in industrial scale. On an industrial scale, a lot of potential clients appeared that were ready to command this or that motor from Dmitry Duyunov for their purposes. However, Dmitry Duyunov could not fulfill those orders because he did not have enough equipment, not enough people, not enough resources. That is how we got an idea to create an enterprise, the so-called Innovative Center. This is an enterprise where such work would become possible, where Dmitry would be able to develop motors for different clients from different walks of life. Of course, to create such a business, you need investment. And first, Dmitry went to speak to large investors, banks, different foundations, to realize his project. But it was not possible to come to an agreement, not because they did not want to give money to Dmitry. No. Dmitry Duyunov did not want to take the money under the conditions he was offered. When projects are at their initial stage, especially such projects which are related to technologies, no investor wants to take risks. That is why, as a rule, they just offer to buy the company from the developer. That means to take 80 or 90% of the company, buy the technology, and maybe leave the developer as a CEO or manager. But actually, you, as a developer, you do not possess your company anymore, and the company you sold it to can do what they want with it. Dmitry did not want that. He did not want to sell his technology, and at that moment, after failing efforts to come to an agreement, Dmitry Duyunov met people from SOLARGROUP, which I belong to as well. And we talked about conditions, how to attract investment for this project. And as you know, the scheme of financing was found, and today it is actively used. I am speaking about scheme of attracting investment with crowd investing, via crowd investing. And we proposed to Dmitry Duyunov to get all the necessary investment with this tool. This tool is actively used everywhere in the world. There are a lot of different projects that attract investment this way, and all Dmitry needed here was just to believe in this idea, to believe that it was possible. And as for SOLARGROUP, it was necessary to create all the necessary infrastructure for this work to be made. Back office, legal contracts and agreements, ability to receive investment all over the world, to create quite a big team, and to be able to explain to people why this technology was really worth engaging with. We see today that SOLARGROUP and Dmitry Duyunov have had a very fruitful cooperation, and today we see that the project is developing very actively. So let's speak about what is being now created within the project. what this enterprise, the Innovation Center, will be doing, and how, most importantly, you can take part in it and earn money together with this project. As I have said already, within this project, Duyunov's Motors, a center, an innovative center is being created. It will be called Sovelmash. It is an enterprise where Dmitri's team will be able to design different motors for different clients. I want to make a little precision here. This is not a plant to produce any particular motors. This innovation center has a much broader scope of work. Of course, they will produce different motors, but the main income will come from development of motors for concrete users, clients, on their demand. Let's look at example. For example, a producer of electric transport wants to launch a new model of an electric car. Of course, he or she needs an effective modern electric motor for that new car. They will address some company for this electric motor to be developed, because today producers rarely develop transmitters or electric motors or ignition boxes. Today, even the mobile telephone that you are using, it may be Samsung or Apple, but if you look at the components, you will see that not all the telephone was made by Apple, because for example, screens are made by Samsung, chips are made by Intel for Apple, cameras are made by a third company, but when they assemble it, it is made by Apple. And today companies address experts for them to do some particular work for them. And so automobile producer will address a company that will produce effective electric motors. And Sovelmash's advantage here will be that it will be able to, I'm just giving an example, it may not necessarily be an automobile producer. So they can develop an electric motor for the same money as competitors, but it will be an electric motor of a new generation which will be much more effective than what other companies can develop today. So our potential client, for example, an automobile producer, chooses Sovelmash because this is the most reasonable choice in this case. They come to Sovelmash, they give a technical task to the company, what the electric motor should look like. They give that technical task, technical specification, what size, what capacity the motor should have. The company Sovelmash develops the necessary motor, the needed motor, and learns how to produce it in series. Then they teach the client that, they give them all the documents for the motor, and after that the client, using its own capacities, produces the necessary number of electric motors that were developed, created by Sovelmash company. And I will tell you what, to develop motors is much more profitable than producing them in a serious way. Plants need a lot of time to reach the break-even point. As for us, even if we have one client, one command, it allows to reach the break-even point for all the investment that investors bring today to make the project be realized. Development of one motor costs about $50 million. Sums can be different. It all depends on difficulty. It may be 20 or 100 million just for one motor. They are real market conditions. The most interesting thing here is that marginality here is up to 70%. Which is not possible to reach when you just produce, when you have serial production of motors. That is why I'm saying that motor development is the most profitable area. Of course, it's interesting to do such business it's not only interesting to do this business, but it's also interesting to take part in it as an investor. This business is very profitable indeed. And today you have this opportunity. Let's speak about your participation, how each of you can take part in this project and become a co-owner of the business I have been talking about, and how you can get part of the profit. Today, thanks to the method of investment we are using, crowd investing, absolutely anyone can take part in the project, anyone from any country in the world. Thanks to a very small, minimal investment, this project is indeed a popular one, and it is accessible to everyone. Everyone who will invest in the project Duyunov's Motors gets the so-called investment shares. All your investment is protected legally. You get a contract, you get appendices for the contract, and you get a certificate which says how many investment shares you possess. Moreover, you can get these documents either in the back office electronically or in paper, in hard copy, ordering delivery by mail, by post. Then, okay, what shall you do with it? What will you do with it? After financing of the project is over, your investment shares will be exchanged for real shares of the company Sovelmash. Today, the company Sovelmash has not yet issued stocks, shares. It will only be done after the end of financing. So your investment shares will be exchanged for Sovelmash stock, and you will become a fully fledged co-owner of the Innovation Center Sovelmash, which does development of the most effective motors of a new generation in the world. And thanks to that, you will get profit. I think that it is getting clear for you that how you can get profit when you have shares, stock of a particular company. There are two ways to gain money here. The first one is to sell your stock at a more expensive price than what you bought them with. The second way is to get dividends. Dividends are part of the profit that a company gets that will be distributed among all investors. I think that this is quite clear. Let's speak about the two ways in a more detailed way. So, the first way, how by investing today you will be able to resell your share more expensively in the future. Today, investing in our project, you buy a share in the company with a big discount. We sell a share in the company with a big discount because we understand that all people who invest today, they run risks as investors. And for your risks to be justified, we buy you at a cheaper price something that will be much more expensive in the future. You should also take into account that you can buy investment shares not just one by one, not just two or three. We sell investment shares in investment packages. It is also important to take this into account. What is an investment package? It is a set of shares in each investment. So each investment package has a different price and it has a different number of investment shares. The bigger package you buy, the more investment shares there are in this package, and the cheaper one share is if we calculate it for the total sum of the package. What does the price of shares and of the package depend on? On two factors. The first one is the size of this investment package. The second one is the time when you invest in the project. Our project is divided into 20 investment stages. At each stage, the company solves some important strategic tasks that promote the project and that make it closer to the end of financing and to the realization of the project. So when we transfer from stage to stage, there are less and less risks. There are 20 stages. And those who invested at stage 1 had the biggest discount, and it's clear why, because they had the biggest risk. At stage 1, there were a lot of uncertainties, a lot of risks. At stage 5, the risks were much smaller. That is why the price for shares was bigger, that is, the discount was smaller. Now it is stage 14. Of course, at stage 14, the discount is smaller than at stage 1. On the other hand, at stage 14, a lot of work has been done, much more work, and the investors who invest today have a clear understanding that the project will be finished and that there are no factors that could prevent that. That is why today you can invest in the project under the conditions of stage 14. You can read the conditions in the back office. At stage 14, today you have specific conditions, but as soon as it will be transferred to stage 15, investment conditions will be changed for the worse. That is why, of course, if you have learned about the project today, it is more profitable to invest at stage 14 to have better investment conditions, the best that there are for today. The best, there will not be better conditions. Please be careful about that. Stage 14 for you is the best moment to enter the project. You can buy investment shares in your back office. You can read how many shares you will get while choosing different investment packages, and you can make a decision which package is of interest to you. It is impossible to remember that you do not have to buy the whole investment package. For example, you want to buy an investment package for $2,000, and you don't have this sum now. In this case, you can buy the investment package using an installment plan. Installment plan allows you to pay $100 for 20 months. So in 20 months, you will pay for the whole package, which costs $2,000. What is the advantage here? First of all, you don't have to pay $2,000 straight away. You can pay it gradually, $100 each month. Also, the conditions which were relevant when you started paying, you will preserve these conditions. So it's much more profitable than to save $2,000 and then pay it. Because while you are saving, we will arrive at stage 15 or 16, or the project may finish altogether, and you will just not have time to take part in it. That is why you can start using your installment plan, which means that you will be able to pay for the whole package. It will be allowed despite changing conditions. So initial conditions will be preserved. Maybe you may have some questions, and I want to remind you that you can always write to our technical support or to our national partner. They will always explain to you how to understand the discounts, the packages, and so on. We have very different packages, from the smallest to the biggest, so you can make use of it, you can choose them. Everyone will find what is of interest for them. Today we see that this offer is only is of interest for many people across the world. Many people like it. More than 200 countries today participate in the project, and the number of participants approaches 300,000 people. This project is really big, really international, and we see that people from different countries in the world support the technology of combined winding Slavyanka. We open national representation offices in many countries. Now there is one in Indonesia, which I want to congratulate on again, and I wish you very productive work in promoting our technology on the Indonesian market. Thanks to this support that the project is getting today, we managed to reach our first aims and goals. I'm speaking about creation of first working capacities, where Dmitry Duyunov's team is working on new electric motors. They compare them with competitors' motors. Today we can launch our proper electric motors in small batches. And all of it is becoming possible thanks to the people that have already invested in the project. I'm speaking about the laboratory, the trial test, foundry, winding area, where there is work every day. It is like a miniature of that innovation center that we are now constructing, where there is preliminary preparation work which will be continued in the innovation center itself. This work is very needed today because one of the main aims of these first capacities is testing some technologies, and also it is needed to have negotiations with our future clients. Our goal today is to have a queue of clients as soon as the enterprise is really launched. When the Innovation Center Sovelmash will start work, then thanks to all this work, we will start to earn money straight away and the company will become profitable. There is a lot of parallel work going on, except for developing motors. We are still getting patents, we are working on that, and today increasing of non-material assets and getting patents is not less important than creating material assets. Patents increase the overall assessment, evaluation of the company and the share of each investor for all those who have already joined the project. As I have already said, the main goal of the project Duyunov's Motors is construction of the Innovation Center Sovelmash. And here in this area, work continues and it's constant. Construction of Sovelmash, of the Innovation Center Sovelmash, will not happen in a random place. We will construct it on the territory of State Special Economic Zone, Technopolis, Moscow. It is a place near Moscow, which was created by the government of Moscow to support innovative projects, including those like ours. And in 2019, we officially became residents of this State Special Economic Zone. Next to us, there are various innovation companies from the whole world that are also working, everyone in their direction, in their area. What does it give us? Why did we want to construct our center on that territory? There are a lot of advantages here. For example, we got a land allotment to construct our center for free from the government, which allows us to save money which we would have to spend if we were buying that land. Second thing, we being residents of that special zone may not pay some taxes very legally. It is a measure of support from the government, and this will allow us to start our business more easily, and the money that you did not pay as taxes, this is the money that you saved. It's almost the money that you earned. Huge advantage. Another thing is infrastructure that we can use. In this special zone, we are surrounded by railways, roads, electric power lines. We can use all of that, which influences the project very positively. Another thing is attention towards Technopolis Moscow from different entities. A lot of companies analyze that territory, including our competitors, and we will be able to find our potential competitors as well. Technopolis Moscow also collaborates with the leading universities of our country. Thus, we will be able to recruit the best personnel, the best specialists. Only such people will work in our enterprise. After we became residents, there was a lot of work in store for us in the future, and today it is completed. This is preparation work for construction. What did that include? Choice of general contractor that would construct the center, preparation of all the documents for construction, passport of the facility, different exploration work, archaeological, hydro exploration. And then, when the project was ready, then it was to be approved by different government bodies. We had government testing, control by state technical control agency. Our enterprise was checked for compliance with all laws, with all requirements, all norms. For example, whether we pollute the environment, whether our building is fire prone, and everything necessary to get permission for construction. We did all that successfully, and right after that we started preparing for construction. The first stage was constructing temporary buildings, the so-called construction little town. It is necessary to do that before constructing the center itself. So they are temporary buildings, washing stations for equipment, temporary roads, checkpoint. All of that was done, and on the 15th of October, when this preparation stage was almost absolutely completed, we got an official permission to construct our enterprise, our innovation center, Sovelmash. I solemnly congratulate you on this news. It means that now we can start the fully fledged construction of our innovation center, which will happen in the very nearest future. In 2020 already we are planning to do the foundation. In 2021 there will be a main construction work. At the end of 2021 we are planning to start bringing first equipment into the center, and the official start of the enterprise work, Innovation Center Sovelmash, is planned to be at the beginning of 2022. Today, now you see a preliminary graph of schedule of construction work. It is written specifically which work will happen when, and it means that the project is transferring into a totally different stage. So we have already started constructing our innovation center. We have got all the permissions, and as of today we understand clearly that in the nearest future our enterprise will be completed and it will start to bring us first profit. It proves that the project is getting to a new stage. Our project is approaching the finish line, and there are just several months before the enterprise will start bringing first profit to its investors. I want to congratulate on that despite that the stage is in the final stage, still you have a last chance to take part in this investment project and to invest under the conditions which you can find today in your back office. There will be no better conditions for investment in the project. Moreover, the people who today hear this information but do not use it, do not make use of it, I think that they will lose any opportunity to take part in this investment project, because very soon the current project, Duyunov's motors, will come to an end. Yes, the company Solar Group will promote other projects, and you will still have opportunities to invest in other new projects, but as for this one, the entry will be closed, and all of us soon we will be watching a solemn, grandiose opening of the enterprise Sovelmash that will develop the best, the most efficient motors of a new generation. There are no motors of this kind today. No one is making them. I congratulate all those who have had time to invest. I'm sure it will be one of the best investments in your life, and very soon you will be able to see it for yourself. Very often I am asked, is it worth investing at all? Maybe it's just easier not to think about anything, just to get your salary. I will tell you that, of course, it's worth investing. I believe in it strongly. Of course, you need to be very careful about investment. You need to look at all of them. There are a lot of possibilities today to improve your financial literacy. There are a lot of areas, a lot of projects where you can invest. You have internet, and today the whole world is open for you. But of course, the market of crowd investing and of we remember that today it is the most rapidly developing market today, and there are reasons for that. Investment through crowd investing is an accessible thing. It is accessible for everyone. It is relatively easy because in order to invest you just need a computer and internet. And just 10 minutes later you become an investor after you get registered. It is understandable, it is easy to understand what this project is, what they do, how they are going to earn money, and how you can earn money together with the project. Today we see that there are a lot of people coming to us because people do like it a lot. You too have a possibility to take part in our project. Our project today is a leader on the market of crowd investing. Moreover, we are very open. We are absolutely transparent. We are ready to answer all your questions, even the most tricky ones. There is nothing that we will hide from you. And you yourself can objectively make a decision whether you are ready to take part in our project or not, because everything that is happening, we put it in the news. We post videos, publications. You can follow us in social networks, in the back office, on the website, and you can see for yourself that if we promise something, if we speak about something, we always fulfill our promises. And the people who have invested today in our project, and I want to remind you, there are tens of thousands of people around the world, no one has regretted starting to cooperate with our project. So, dear friends, join, improve your financial literacy, and if you still have any questions, please ask them in the chat or ask your national representative. Remember that we have technical support. You can always write to our specialists and we will consult you thoroughly. Dear friends, don't lose this chance. The project is at its final stage. We are opening new national representation offices, and people ask why. The current project is almost completed. Yes, it's true, but the company SOLARGROUP is going to continue work. We are going to promote different innovation projects and to support different projects all over the world, and we want to ensure their financing. But if you want to take part in this very investment project, dear friends, you have the very last chance.